Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm here with a very special video. It's another Top 50 at 50. As you know, I recently turned 50 years old, and I did some videos showing the top 50 books in my collection. Well, I've got another one today because something else hit 50. Yes, when I was out on my vacation, my wife and I stopped at a bunch of comic stores, and I passed 50 comic stores visited since I started this YouTube channel 3.5 years ago. I'm now up to 53. So I thought I'd do a top 50 at 50 to count down my 50 favorite comic book stores. Okay, I'm not actually going to do all 50 because that's a little crazy since that's all of them. But I did want to highlight my favorite comic stores that I visited over the last 3.5 years. So what I'm actually going to do is a top three to celebrate hitting the 50 mark. I do have a couple runner-ups, a couple runner-up isn't the quite the right word, but I want to have some honorary mentions of a couple stores. So the stores that I want to mention that are sort of honorary mentions are one of them is called Mint Collectibles. I saw some stuff there. They had an incredible array of stuff. It was just a little bit too expensive for me, so I didn't really buy much there. That's a store where I bought the Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys Spire comic. But they had an incredible selection of like top back issues. I want to specifically mention them because that's the store where I saw Wonder Woman #1. Now that wasn't for sale, but because I was just oohing and awing over the incredible selection of Wonder Woman back issues, including issue 105, which you almost never see anywhere, he pulled out the Wonder Woman #1 to show me. So that gets an honorary mention. Great selection of books there. Another one I want to mention is Crazy for Comics. When I was at Crazy for Comics, he had just recently gotten in a massive batch of Golden Age comics that had been like in a library at some point. So they'd all been trimmed and had tape down the spine, and they were musty. But he was selling them like dirt cheap, and I got some really great books there. Some really top books. So that's the store I keep meaning to go back to because they had some great stuff there. I got some really cool Archie stuff there as well. Some issues from the late 50s. So a couple great stores. But my top three stores that I want to mention are That's Entertainment in Worcester, Mass. Now, That's Entertainment is my LCS. And I've mentioned this before. I've had multiple videos because every time I go there, I do a video. And the difficult part for me is that because it's my LCS and I've been going there since the late 80s, they rarely have stuff that I need only because I've already bought it, right? So like I've spent 30 years buying all the stuff I needed from them. And like a large part of my collection came from them. But it means that like when I go in there, there's not that much left that I need anymore because I already bought it from them. But I think for other people that aren't me and that this isn't their LCS, it's just incredible. They have such a massive amount of back issues and all sorts of stuff. Games and toys and merchandise and Magic the Gathering cards. They have all of that too. Baseball cards, sports memorabilia. They have all of that. But in addition to all of that, they have like an incredibly massive amount of back issues. Just a great store. It's just still one of the best stores I've ever been to, if not the best. So you gotta always give a shout out to That's Entertainment in Worcester. The other two stores in my top three, well, one of them is Outer Limits in Waltham, Mass. I mean, Outer Limits, every time I go to Outer Limits, I find cool stuff. They have a bunch of like 50-cent bins. And in the past, I found some amazing books in the 50-cent bins there. First appearance of Squirrel Girl and like a 9.6 I got out of the 50-cent bin there. Wonder Woman 204, 50-cent bin. Betty and Veronica 320, the first Cheryl Blossom, I got it out of 50-cent bin there. But also just their back issues. They have the good stuff. You know, they've got the boxes of ACG, they've got the boxes of Charlton, they've got the Western boxes and the War boxes and the Dells and the Archies and the Harvey box. They've got all the good stuff. They've got the romance comics. I've bought some great stuff there. I got the Adventures into the Unknown 58 with the robot cover and the black frame 3D um, cover there for a great price. That's just one of the many books that I've gotten there. Like, I think just before I started the videos, just a few months before I started doing my YouTube channel, I got a Matt Baker romance cover there for $10. So it's just great. Every time I go, I find a bunch of cool stuff. I always come back with something cool. So great store. Again, Outer Limits, Waltham, Mass. And the other store I want to mention is Nick's Comics in Danvers. Now, I've only been there once, and I desperately need to go back because it's been about a year and a half now since my one visit. But they had a bunch of great stuff. Where you go into the back corner, and they have this section in the back where I think this is where they do their like whatnot and Instagram and Facebook sales videos from the back corner. Golden Age books on the wall, keys, Silver Age keys, but like all these Golden Age books, massive amount of back issues. But here's where you're gonna find like 2-3 boxes of Charlton horror. You know, you got you get your ACG stuff, you get Gold Key and Dell boxes, War boxes, all the good stuff there. Reams of stuff, like huge selection and just everything you want. I got a bunch of Barbies there. I got Josie and the Pussycats 45, the first appearance of the Pussycats. Got that there at a really good price. So just the one time I've been there, I was super impressed. It's not close to me, so I haven't gotten back up there. It's also a direction we don't usually go, so I just haven't had a chance to get back there. But a great shop. So for me, those are my top 3 stores, and there's so many other great stores. You know, Bedrock Comics in Framingham always has great stuff. Million Year Picnic, I got some cool stuff there. You know, Stairway to Heaven up in New Hampshire, great store. Just like, I've been to so many great comic stores. Another special mention isn't a comic store, but when I was in Putnam, Connecticut, there is a cool comic store there. I think it's called Wonderland, but across the street is a giant antique mall. Reams of cool comics. Silver Age, Bronze Age, Golden Age books. They had like all sorts of great stuff there. So a lot of cool places. But for me, top 3 stores that I've been to so far, that's Entertainment, Outer Limits, and Nick's Comics. So let's see what we do in the next, 50 stores to come. I've done 53 so far. I got to do a breakdown of like how many in each state. Most of them, of course, in New England, but I do now have a few outside of New England. But there's still 30 or 40 comic shops within an hour and a half of my house that I still haven't been to. There's all these comic shops south of Boston, down the South Shore, and heading down towards Fall River, that I've never been to any of the comic shops down there. There's still comic shops in Central Mass that I somehow haven't been to. Western Mass has some, and I know there's a lot of comic stores still in Connecticut as well that I haven't been to. So there's still a long way to go to hit all of the great comic shops in New England. So I don't think it's going to be too long before we start getting to more comic shops. I'm at 53 so far. I think I could get to 100 without leaving New England. So let's see how it goes. But I can't wait to get out to more stores and find more cool stuff and bring you hopefully more video inside the stores, which I haven't really been able to get much of recently. But that's it for now. Check out all of my previous store videos. There's some great stores. Kamikaze, great store. The Zombie Hideout out in Springfield, great store. So lots of cool stores. But for now, that's it. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you next time.